Namaste. So let's come straight into relaxation, straight into our Shavasana to start our class today. Taking a moment to get comfortable and make sure you feel warm as you surrender the whole back body to the earth. Arranging through the legs and the feet, having the legs extended all the way out in front. Just flop in the little toes to the top two corners of the mat. Or possibly the lower back might feel a little bit tight, holding some tension there, therefore it might feel more comfortable for you to take a bend in the knees, place the soles of the feet onto the floor. Just releasing the whole back body. Releasing, sinking the shoulders into the earth as you arrange the arms and hands alongside the body. Deciding whether you'd like the palms facing down towards the earth or turning up towards the sky. Or maybe you'd like to just cradle the abdomen with the hands. Allowing the eyes to close as you settle down in to the here and the now. Just starting to scan your body slowly. Start with your toes and your feet. Allow the feet to relax. Feel them becoming heavy on the floor. Then allow awareness to rise up to the ankles, calves and shins. Feel them melting down into the earth. No effort is needed. Feel the space in the knee joints. And as you move slowly higher, relax your thighs. Feel them becoming warm, heavy, soft. Notice your buttocks, hips and groin relaxing. They too become soft and warm. Now allow awareness to come to your tailbone. Just sense the sacrum and lower back releasing down into the floor. Feel your lower back and stomach muscles relax. And as you allow this sensation to rise up your spine, feel each vertebrae, the space between them and their alignment. Allow the upper back muscles and shoulder blades to sink into the floor. Relax your chest and all the muscles between the ribs. Coming now to the shoulders, where we carry so much tension in our bodies, let the shoulders release completely. Spend an extra moment here and really soften. Feel the weight of the shoulders sink into the earth. Allow the sensation of softness to flow down the arms. Relaxing your upper arms, your elbows and your forearms. Feel the space in the wrist joints. Feel the space around each finger and then the energy in the palm of your hand. Bring awareness to your neck and your throat. Relaxing cheeks and eyes and all the muscles around the eyes and then the muscles deep in the eye socket. Relax your forehead and scalp. Allow your head to rest heavily on the floor. Release the breath totally and let it be what it wants to be. And then notice the breath. Become aware of the short pauses between each breath. Relax your mind. Notice that the moment between each breath is the moment between thoughts. Enjoy those moments of complete silence and peace. Feel the sense of peace growing deeper. this feeling of peace fill you. Let it fill the space around you. Let peace fill the room and beyond, touching everyone and everything. And very carefully, very slowly, in your own time, let's come into a lovely full body stretch. So if the knees are bent, start to stretch the legs out in front of you. We're going to start to take the arms and hands overhead. Breathe into that stretch, all the way from the fingertips, down through the hands and wrists and arms, shoulders, through the whole of the trunk of the body, the back of the hips, the legs, feet and toes. Slowly, carefully release the arms to rest back alongside the body. And you're going to bend the knees up over the chest. Taking a bend in the elbows, allow the fingertips just to find their way onto your belly, just below the ribs. And from here, we're going to start to bring awareness to our core abdominal muscles. So keeping the fingers there, start to draw in around the waist. You want to draw, feel as if you're drawing the front ribs back. As you do that, you start to feel slight movement underneath the fingertips. That's you starting to energize and strengthen your core abdominal muscles. Release the arms and hands to rest back alongside the body by keeping that, feeling that movement in the belly. Tuck the chin in towards the chest to look after the neck. And then from here, you're going to extend your legs. And you want to take your legs to an angle of about 30 degrees. So just guiding the legs and feet away from you slightly, but not losing that connection around the belly. Keep drawing in around the ribs, knitting the front ribs back. With the legs extended, you're going to inhale and you're going to widen the knees to about the width of your mat. As you exhale, you're going to bring the knees, the thighs together and draw the knees in towards the chest. Let's repeat that. Inhale, extend the legs and widen. Exhale, bring the knees, thighs together, draw the knees in towards the chest. And just repeat that, keeping in line with the breath. And try and soften into this practice. Soften the shoulders, the neck, the jaw. If this is too much for the belly, those core abdominal muscles, just take a moment here, draw the knees in towards the chest and gently rock from side to side. Be mindful as you inhale and widen the legs that you're not taking the legs too wide. If you take the legs too wide, there's a danger that actually you lose that core connection around the belly. Nice controlled legs, nice controlled breathing. The next time you inhale, so the next time you bring the knees together, let's just start to lift the hips off the mat about an inch as you bring the knees a little bit higher over the chest. Then extend the legs away, inhale, widen. Exhale, bring the knees together, draw the knees in towards the chest and lift the hips a little bit off the mat. Continue. make this our last one. So as you exhale, bring the legs together, bring the knees up high over the chest as you lift the hips about an inch above the mat. So keeping the knees up over the chest, I'd like you to bring your heels together so that the feet start to splay out, the toes start to splay out to the sides. Start to establish that core connection again. So gathering around the belly, draw the front ribs back. Keep releasing around the shoulders and neck, tuck the chin in. We're going to inhale, we're going to straighten the legs. And as you exhale, you keep the heels together, draw the heels in towards the body so that the knees open, the hips open. So let's continue with that. Starting to feel that, most certainly into the tops of the thighs, the quads, maybe the hamstrings. Keep relaxing, keep breathing. Just check you've not lost that core connection in the belly. Let's make this our last one. Inhaling here, and as we exhale, keeping the heels together, opening the knees, opening the hips. Release the soles of the feet down onto the floor, and then extend the legs all the way out in front. Take a moment here, just check you feel nice and symmetrical on the mat. Keep relaxing up into the legs, up into the hips. Arms and hands a little distance away from the body. Lovely length through the spine, up through the neck, up through the crown of the head. Keep tucking the chin in. So working those core abdominals a little bit more. We're going to come into a variation of Apanasana. When you're ready, let's bring some engagement into the legs. Point both toes towards the sky. Leave the left leg nice and heavy on the earth. Start to bend up the right knee. Interlace the fingers around the right knee, right shin. As you start to guide that right thigh a little bit closer in towards the side of the body. Keep the shoulder blades sinking down into the earth, and both sets of toes are pointing up towards the sky. Breathe into this stretch. Feel that stretch through the lower back, into the belly, through the pelvis. This stretch might be enough for you today. If it is, stay here. Just enjoy how this feels through the body. If there's anything going on with the neck, with the head, I prefer you to stay in this position. But if you want to add something a little bit extra into this pose and the neck and the shoulders feel okay, let's inhale here. As you exhale, carefully pick the head off the floor. Draw the nose in towards that right kneecap and see if you can hover through that left leg. Hover that left leg about an inch above the mat. Keep breathing here. So as you settle into this variation of Apanasana, this might be enough, so please feel free to come out of this anytime you need to. Observing that slight rocking of the body as you inhale, as you exhale. That's your lungs expanding and contracting. Inhale here. As you exhale, release the back of your head carefully onto the mat. Release the left leg, then uncurl the right leg. Release in through both legs, little toes flop out to the sides. Take a moment here, catch your breath. Let's balance that pose up on the other side. Let's bring engagement back into the legs, toes towards the sky. Keeping the right leg nice and heavy on the earth. When you're ready, start to bend up the left knee. Interlace the fingers around the left knee, left shin, as you guide that left thigh in towards the body, checking that both sets of toes are pointing up towards the sky. Observing how this stretch feels through the body on this side. Again, listening to the body. This stretch might be enough. If it is, stay here. If the neck and the shoulders feel okay, let's try that other variation. Inhale here. As you exhale, keep the head off the floor, draw your nose in towards that left kneecap, and hover that right leg about an inch above the mat. Breathe into this, observing that slight rocking again. If this is too much, come out at any time. Just firing up those core abdominal muscles, the pelvic floor muscles, working into the legs, the hips, up into the shoulders. Inhale here. As you exhale, slowly, carefully release the back of the head onto the earth. Release the right leg. Then allow the left leg to slowly uncurl. Release the legs all the way out in front. Take a moment here. Catch your breath. Going to bend up the knees. Let's draw the knees up high over the chest. Take the right hand on top of the right knee. Left hand on top of the left knee. Fingers pointing down towards the toes. Let's draw some hip circles here. Just releasing tension in the hip flexors, massaging the lower back, the belly. Working up into the shoulders. Change the direction of your circles when you're ready. Bring the knees back to center. Hug the knees in as you gently rock from side to side. Knees come back to center. Raise your right arm. Keep that right arm elevated as you roll all the way over onto your right side. Resting here for a moment and using that raised arm to rest your head. Allowing yourself to take a little fuller inhale, a little fuller exhale. And then carefully, slowly, and in your own time, bring awareness and attention into your left fingers. Your left hand, when you're ready, push down into that hand, using that hand to steady yourself as you come all the way up. We're going to get ready to come into a spinal balance. We're going to come onto all fours. So let's pad out the knees. So get your blanket. Fold in the blanket a couple of times to create that padding. You can remove socks if you want to, if the feet feel a little bit warmer now. Take time to come into a comfortable all fours position. So looking after fingers, hands and wrists. Ideally for spinal balance, we keep our hands nice and flat on the floor. But this angle here that happens from our hand to the wrist, sometimes when we're putting too much weight through the hand, that can actually start to feel a little bit sore. So if that happens today, come into gorilla fists, make fists and push down into the tops of the knuckles, or come into tent fingers if you want to do that. So let's take a moment to come onto all fours. Spread the fingers apart, press down into the pads of the hands. We're not wearing our shoulders as earrings today, so push the earth away. Look down at your knees, make sure the knees are hip width apart. We're going to draw the navel in towards the spine as we reach out through the right leg and push the left foot to the back of the mat. So when you can't stretch anymore, you're going to raise that right arm up to shoulder height, that left leg up to hip height, and point the toes towards the earth. Keep drawing the navel in towards the spine. Keep pushing down through that left hand, left wrist. Check your breathing. If this is enough, stay here. If you want to take it one stage further, let's come into that wind wiper motion with that right arm, left leg. Couple more here. Come back back to centre, release that right hand down, take a bend in the left knee, bring the left knee back down onto the safety of the blanket. Let's take a moment here, sink the hips down towards the heels, keep the arms outstretched in front, and bring some movement back into the hands and wrists. Really carefully allow yourself to curl all the way up. Coming back onto all fours. Looking after fingers, hands and wrists. Check the shoulders, push the earth away. Knees are hip width apart. Draw the navel in towards the spine. Switch those core abdominal muscles on as you stretch out through the left arm. Take your left hand to the top of the mat. And your right leg, right toes to the back of the mat. When you can't stretch or reach anymore, raise that left arm up to shoulder height. The right leg up to hip height, toes towards the earth. Keep breathing here, draw that navel in towards the spine. Keep pushing down through that right hand. Staying here, we're coming into that variation where we do that windscreen motion with the arms and the legs. Nice and controlled and steady. Might be a little bit trickier or maybe easier on this side. Make this our last one. Bring that left arm, right leg back to centre. Release that left hand down. The right knee onto the safety of the blanket. Let's sink down into child's pose again. Hips towards heels. Look after the wrists, hands and fingers. Inhale here, as you exhale, slowly, carefully uncurl the spine, come all the way up. We're going to get ready to come into downward facing dog with a couple of variations. We're going to come into a step through where we take a low lunge and then lizard pose. Now I am aware that some of you have knee problems. So if after maybe playing the video back a couple of times, you know that's not going to suit your legs, suit your knees. I'd like you to come to sitting on a block or your cushion from your settee and come into Baddha Konasana legs. So you want to bend up the knees in front of you, soles of the feet onto the floor. You've got a nice long spine and just take the knees out to where it feels comfortable. You're going to be doing this instead of the step through into a low lunge, into lizard pose. This just protects the knees, but we open up through the hips. So when you're ready, let's come into downward facing dog. Comfortable all fours position. Fingers, hands and wrists, knees, lovely long spine. Draw the navel in towards the spine, tuck the toes under. Shift the weight back into the thighs, come up into your downward facing dog. Check how the body feels in this pose today. Bending the knees if you need to. Drawing the ribs towards the thighs, the crown of the head towards the mat as the shoulders keep nice and active. Let's walk the dog here. Come back into your static downward facing dog. We're going to shift the weight into the left foot, reach up with the right leg and come into our three-legged dog here. Not holding the breath, breathing down into the belly. You're going to take a bend in that right knee, start to shift the weight over the hands as you step that right foot through. So we know that when we try it, the foot gets to about here. If that's the case, don't panic. Take your right hand and guide that right foot very gently and carefully in between your hands. So stepping the right foot there, and then slowly, carefully releasing the left knee down onto the mat. Take a blanket to pad out that knee, and then just take that right foot a little bit further over, a little bit towards the edge of the mat. So we've got a nice open, a nice space through the pelvic bowl as we come into our low lunge. The right knee's directly above the right ankle. Feel nice and balanced here. Let's start to come all the way up. Take your hands on top of the right thigh. Keep the navel away from the thigh, but see as you start to sink down a little bit further through that left hip. Open up through the left hip there, left hip flexors, front the left hip. Keep releasing the shoulders down the back, but keeping that lovely space through the chest, lifting up through the chest, through the belly. If this doesn't suit your knee, then come into that seated variation of Baddha Konasana that I just demonstrated a little bit earlier. Sitting on your cushion, sitting on your block. Inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to release the hands all the way down. We're going to come into lizard pose. So you might want to move that foot, right foot, a little bit further over to the edge of the mat. You can come onto your hands and you can engage through that left leg if you wish. Tuck the toes under and lift that left leg. Keep extending out through the crown of the head. If you want a deeper stretch, you might be able to come down onto your forearms. Breathe in here. Inhale here. As you exhale, release that left knee down. Come back on to hands. Shift the weight back towards left knee, left thigh. Bring that right foot round. Let's get ready to do the other side. Go back onto all fours. Check the wrists, hands and fingers feel okay. Take a moment to bring some movement back into the hands if you want to, if you need to. Spread the fingers apart, push the earth away, draw the navel in towards the spine, tuck the toes under, let's shift the weight back into downward facing dog. Take a moment and walk the dog here. Come back into your static downward facing dog. Let's shift the weight into the right foot, lift the left foot up, coming into three-legged dog. Let's get ready to come into that transition, that step through. Take a bend in the left knee, shift the weight over the hands. As you step that left foot between the hands, or use your left hand to gently guide that left foot in between the hands. Find a blanket, lower your right knee down, coming into our low lunge. Just release the top of that right foot onto the mat. Step that left foot a little bit wider to the edge of your mat. Slowly, carefully come all the way up. Take the hands on top of the left thigh. Start to feel that super stretch through the front of the right thigh. Keep the navel away from the chest. Release the shoulders, extend out through the crown of the head. Breathe here. Inhale here. As you exhale, tip forward to bring both hands inside of that left foot. Bringing that left foot to the edge of the mat a little bit more perhaps. So coming into lizard pose. So this might be enough, pushing into the hands, extending out through the crown of the head. Or you might prefer to bring engagement into that right leg. Tuck the toes under, activate through that leg, lift that left leg off the mat. And see if you can bring the forearms down as you take a deeper lizard pose. Keep breathing, now hold the breath. Release the right knee down when you're ready. Come back onto your hands. Press down into the hands. Shift the weight back towards left knee, left thigh. Creating space so you can bring that left knee round. Take a moment here, sink down into child's pose. Stretch out through the tummy. Release through the hips, take the arms out. Bring movement into hands, wrists and fingers. Inhale here as you exhale, come all the way up. Come into our last downward facing dog of the day. Back into fingers, hands and wrists. Pushing the earth away, navel in towards the spine, tuck the toes under. Shift the weight back into the thighs, come all the way up. Come into a static downward facing dog. We're not going to be here very long. Be mindful that we've been on our wrists quite a lot today, our knees quite a lot. Enjoy how that feels around the shoulders. Enjoy that sense of lengthening through the spine, the sides of the body. Bend the knees if the knees aren't already bent. Look towards your hands. Taking as many steps as you need to. Walk the feet towards the hands, hands towards the feet. Coming into our calming forward fold, our Uttanasana. Take the hands to wherever it feels most comfortable today. Maybe hands to inner elbows, gently rocking from side to side. Maybe hands onto shins. Maybe making a circle with the tip of the thumb and the forefinger around the big toe. But either way, I'd like you to draw your chest towards the thighs, the crown of the head towards the mat. Being very mindful of how the back feels, so bending the knees if you need to. Take a moment here. Release totally through the neck, extending the crown of the head towards the floor. Inhale here as you exhale. Push down into the feet. Keep the knees bent. Let's start to stack each vertebrae on top of one another. Fingers and hands are heavy. Very much breathing into the upper back body. Up around the shoulder blades. Slowly making this transition up to standing. The last thing to come up will be our neck and our head. And then we can straighten through the legs. Straighten through the knees. As you come all the way up, come to face me on your mats. Finding your Tadasana, feet directly underneath the hips. Sensing your connection to the earth with the toes and four corners of the feet. Got nice active legs, so as you start to root down, draw that Pada Bandha energy up. Activate the legs, lift the kneecaps. Thighs are nice and firm, pelvis neutral. Growing, lengthening out the pelvis, finding space around the ribs. Releasing the shoulders but opening the chest, extending out through the crown of the head. And as you stand here in your Tadasana, if it feels okay, close the eyes. And let's use the mantra to feel grounded and centered here today. I am safe. I am home. I am grounded. I am centered. I am safe. I am home. I am grounded. I am centered. I am safe. I am home. I am grounded. I am centered. Repeating silently to yourself that mantra a couple more times, keeping the eyes closed still if that feels okay. And as you repeat that mantra to yourself, observing the breath is slowing down, changing. As that happens, as that possibly happens, what's going on with the mind? Allow this to be the last time you repeat the mantra. And then just bring some awareness back into the room. Allow the eyes to start to open. Slowly, carefully, blinking the eyes a couple of times, keeping your gaze down towards the mat, towards the earth. Maybe changing your stance if you need to, but you're still ensuring that you're rooting down, drawing that energy all the way up through the body, up through the crown and the head. Let's come into a couple of rounds of half sun salutations. As we inhale, let's start to take the arms all the way up towards the sky, fingertips up towards the ceiling. As we exhale, keeping the arms extended, finding that small back bend, push into the feet, open through the front of the body. Inhale, come back to center. As you exhale, widen the arms, forward fold, bend the knees if you need to. Inhale, hands onto shins, flat back, crown the head towards me. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive the arms all the way up to the sides. Start to straighten through the legs. Palms touch. Exhale down to heart space. Inhale. Exhale, small back bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, widen the arms, forward fold, bend the knees. Inhale, hands onto shins, flat back, crown the head towards the center of the room. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, swan dive the arms all the way out to the sides. Palms touch. Exhale down to heart space. Inhale. Exhale, small back bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, widen the arms, forward fold. Inhale, hands onto shins, flat back, crown the head towards the center of the room. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, swan dive the arms all the way out to the sides. Palms touch. Exhale down to heart space. As you bring the hands into Anjali Mudra at your heart space, take a moment here just to fully soften down the back, releasing the shoulder blades. Sensing that flow of prana energy around the body. Allow the breath to return back to normal. Maybe coming back to that mantra that we just did a moment ago, start to feel grounded and centered again. Repeating the mantra for the last time, slowly releasing fingers, hands and arms, and allowing the eyes just to blink back open. Adjusting the placement of your toes and your feet, but still keeping in your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Nice active legs, kneecaps lifted. Extending all the way up through the crown of the head. Let's come into a comfortable wide stance. Check your stance isn't too wide here, you feel unbalanced. We're going to come into a small flow involving Virabhadrasana, 2 into extended side angle. Turn the toes on the right foot out. Turn the toes on the left foot in. From here, let's take a bend through that right knee. So we're opening up through the hips. Keeping this knee safe, it's directly above the ankle. We can see the big toe. Push down into the outer edge of that left foot. We've got nice strong legs. Without losing the integrity of that right knee, guide your hips and your ribs towards me. Keep releasing through the shoulders as you raise up the arms. Turn your gaze over your right hand and sink a little bit further through that right knee. Draw the navel in towards the spine. That helps keep that core connection. Breathing into the belly. Come into extended side angle. So an option is right hand onto right thigh. Raise the left arm up, gaze over towards the left. Or take a bend in the right elbow. Find your right elbow to your right thigh, palm facing upwards as you take that left arm as close as you can to your left ear, but keep the chest facing the front of the room, facing me. Try and prevent the chest from collapsing. If this is too much through this left arm, and it's too much through the shoulder, take a bend in the elbow and just place that left hand on the left waist. So if you want to, inhale here. As you exhale, start to bring that left hand, left arm all the way down the left side of the body. Inhale. Exhale. Keep pushing down to the feet. Keep drawing this motion, movement through the arm and the shoulder if it suits. This is our last one. If you're moving the arm, inhaling, reach in. Exhale, release that left arm, left hand, all the way down the left side of the body. Push into the feet, come all the way up. Keep that bend through that right knee. Once the trunk's all the way up, straighten through that leg. Let's turn the feet all the way around. So right foot in, left foot out. So take a moment here. Don't feel too unbalanced. The stance isn't too long. When you're ready, take a nice bend, safe bend through that left knee. Looking after the knee, it's directly above the ankle, you can see the toe. Pushing down into the outer edge of that right leg. Nice, strong, firm legs. Turn your hips and your ribs towards me. Check you've not lost that safety of that left knee. Navel in towards the spine, raise up your arms, release the shoulders, sink a little bit further into that left knee. Into extended side angle, either left hand on the left thigh, raise up the right arm. We'll take a bend in the left elbow, reaching over to place that left forearm on the left thigh, palm facing upwards. Taking the right arm overhead and getting that right arm as close to your right ear as possible. Remembering to keep the chest nice and open, chest towards me. If that doesn't suit, take a bend in the right elbow, right hand onto right waist. And if you want to do that motion through the right arm as we did with the left, inhale here, reach. As you exhale, slide that right hand, right arm down the right side of the body. Inhale. Exhale. Repeating that here. This is our last one. Inhaling here, exhale. Sliding that right hand, right arm down, right side of the body. Slowly, carefully bring the trunk all the way back up. Releasing the arms, straightening up through that left leg. Point the toes towards me, and then maybe just bring the feet in slightly. You're going to come into horse stance. So nice comfortable width here in your stance. Bring the toes out to the top two corners of your mat, your heels in. I'm going to draw the navel in towards the spine as we start to sink down through the hips, sink down through the thighs, bend the knees. Taking care not to put any undue pressure on the lumbar spine, so keeping that tailbone sinking down towards the mat. Extending out the arms all the way. Release the shoulders. If this is too much, straighten the legs, release the arms, and then sink back down when you're ready. I'm going to bring some breath into this. Let's inhale here. As you exhale, take the right hand to the inside of the right thigh. You take the left arm up and over. Inhale, swap sides. Keep squatting down through the knees. Don't lose that core connection. Navel in towards the spine, sit the tailbone down. Couple more goes here. Nice strong legs. Inhale. Release the left arm in front of the left thigh. Press into the feet. Come all the way up. Toes towards me. Heel toe back to centre. Take the hands onto the hips. Bend the knees. Let's draw our lovely hip circles. Feeling that release in the hips. We've worked so hard on today. Releasing the belly, those abdominal muscles, the lower back as well. Change direction of your circles when you're ready. Come back to centre. Press down into the feet, straighten the knees, straighten the legs. Release arms and hands. So let's get ready to come into our final relaxation. Putting on socks, putting on a jumper, maybe having that blanket to cover yourself. And allow yourself to take a moment to rest back down onto the mat. Releasing here through the toes, the feet, the ankles. Releasing the legs up into the hips. Releasing the lower, the middle, the upper spine. Soften, releasing the shoulders, releasing the chest. Arranging the arms and hands where it feels comfortable, either alongside the body or just resting the hands on the belly. Allowing the eyes to close. And start here to release the features of your face. Release, soften around the forehead. Releasing and softening the eyes, space in between the eyes. Release the nose. Soften and release the cheekbones. Unclench the jaw, softening the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. Integration of our practice here today. Mind, body and spirit. Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break, and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go. Love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light